Hey guys, today I'm here with the black super white halo projector headlights fitting all 2005 to 2009 Toyota Tacomas. If you're in the market for an upgrade as well as a replacement for your headlights, maybe if you've damaged one while you were out on the trail or just driving around, or if you've seen some of that normal wear and tear, these are going to be right up your alley. These are going to be perfect if you're looking for some extra lighting performance out of the front end of your truck, if you're looking for some extra visibility while driving at night, or even dark back roads and dark trails. These will incorporate Projector HID lights that will help you out with your visibility on those dark back roads or even dark trails, and they're also going to incorporate LED halos and an LED strip down at the bottom, helping you out with some more modernized styling in comparison to your factory bulbs and your factory headlights in general. Speaking of that styling, these are going to have a black housing, which is going to add a very sleek and stealthy look to the front end of your truck. Now, these are going to be very affordable at roughly $250, making these one of the most affordable options for headlights on the page for an 05 to 09 Tacoma. These headlights are going to have a pretty simplistic design to them, however, they still are going to get the job done. So the reason why they are going to be a little bit lower on the price scale is because they are still halogen bulb, even though they are an HID or high intensity discharge, and they are going to have that more basic design to the actual housing. When we take a look at more expensive options, you'll usually see that those style headlights will have a couple of extra bells and whistles, including a smoked lens, or they may have different types of bulbs. So instead of an HID, they may incorporate an LED, or they may incorporate a color changing bulb, which is going to bump up that price point. Now, if we take a look at some more inexpensive solutions, those are usually going to consist of just changing the bulb, which will not take care of the headlight housing itself. So in my personal opinion, I think if you're looking for a very affordable solution that's going to offer you a lot of style as well as function for the front end of your truck, then this is going to be a really good option to take a look at. So install is actually going to be pretty easy. These are plug and play. We're just going to have to remove a couple of trim pieces with some basic hand tools in order to get the job done. So speaking of that install, let's jump into that now. Tools that I use for my install were an impact wrench, a 10mm deep socket and a 10mm shallow socket, a flathead screwdriver, a trim removal tool, and a 1/4" drive ratchet. So our first step is going to be to pop the hood, and then we can take off our grill. So first we're going to remove the 2 bolts in the top of our grill with a 10mm socket. Then we can move to the outside of the grill, and there's going to be 2 clips holding it in on either side. So you can either use a flathead or a trim removal tool. Sometimes a flathead is a little bit easier with this. So now what we can do is just make sure that these top pieces are not hooked on where they were bolted in. There is a little bit of a ridge there. So we're going to pull up and kind of wiggle it out. It's actually being held on either side of the headlight here. And if you want to, you can take a flathead screwdriver and wiggle the clip with that too. So what we can do next is remove the 3 clips that are holding in the front of our bumper. We will have to move this back a little bit to access a bolt on either side. So I'm going to take that same flathead screwdriver and just move these from our bumper. So what we can do next is work on one side. We're going to take off this plastic trim piece that's underneath our headlight so we can access the bolt that's underneath it. So I am going to take that same flathead screwdriver and remove this clip. So after that's removed, what we can do is separate it from our quarter fender over here. I'm going to take a plastic trim removal tool and give it a good pry. So after we have that off, we'll be able to expose that bolt and kind of pull our bumper a little bit forward. I'm going to remove that with a 10mm socket. After that's removed, we can head inside our fender well to remove another bolt behind our inner fender liner. So inside our wheel well, we're going to have a 10mm bolt that's down at the bottom here. I'm going to use a 10mm socket and go ahead and remove that. So there's also one up at the front that I'm going to use the same 10mm socket for. And then we will be able to fold the inner fender liner in and get access for that bolt on the headlight. So once you peel the liner back, there is going to be a bolt that's connecting the bumper to the quarter fender here. I'm going to go ahead and remove that so we can remove part of the bumper and kind of pull it back so we can access this side bolt. So I'm going to be using that same 10mm socket, and it's right up at the corner here. And once that is out, what we can do is pull this back, and you'll be able to see where we can access the side of the headlight. So what I'm going to do is remove that with a 10mm socket, but I did switch from a deep socket to a shallow socket just for extra clearance. Once that bolt is removed, we can put it to the side and move to the top two bolts. So I'm going to use that same 10mm socket to remove these two top bolts that are holding in our headlight. So at this point, the headlight should be fully disconnected. We just have to unhook it from those two tabs up at the top. As you can tell, they have a ridge on them. And then we can wiggle this out. Now, because the bumper is disconnected, we can kind of pull that forward to give us some more clearance. And wiggle this out. Now, once it's pulled forward, we do have to disconnect a couple of wires. We are just going to depress the tab and pull back. Right, there's one. I'm gonna go for the marker light on the side. And then last but not least, our main headlight. You can just wiggle that back. There's no clip on this. Right, so you can take this out and start on the other side. Before we install our new headlight, I wanted to show you guys a quick side-by-side and tell you the benefits that you're going to get out of this new headlight in comparison to your factory setup. Now, sitting on the table, you can tell that this is going to be a big upgrade just within the lens. On the factory headlight, you can tell that this is going to be very clouded, and that can actually obstruct your visibility while you're out on the street, even if the bulb inside is fully functional. On this new headlight, you can tell that this is completely clear, and that's going to help out your lighting performance as well as the new technology inside. This new headlight will have HIDs, or high intensity discharge bulbs, and that is going to be paired with a projector lens, which will create a better light pattern, a more uniform light pattern, and it is going to give you a boost in your visibility in comparison to the factory housing and the factory lighting performance. Not only is this going to have HID and projector technology, but you're also getting an LED within this, including the LED halo ring on each of the headlights and an LED strip at the bottom, which will give you some extra styling and act as a daytime running. Speaking of styling, the new headlight will also have a black interior housing, which will give you some extra sleekness to the front end of your Tacoma in comparison to the factory one, which, as you can tell, will have a chrome reflective housing to it. Now, not only is it going to be an upgrade in performance, these also are going to be pretty easy to install, considering that these have all of the factory mounting points and will be plug and play. So this will be a factory style headlight, however, you are going to get a big bump in performance. So enough about these two side by side on the table, let's go ahead and install our new one. Before we can install our new headlight, we do have a clip that we need to hook onto the inside, and this is what our grill actually clips onto. You can just press that in, and once it's in place, we can move to plugging in our headlight. You want to make sure that you're not scratching up the lens. But like I told you guys, this is going to be completely plug and play. This will also have a silicone boot that goes over for a little bit of extra protection. I'm going to pull our bumper out just a hair since it still is disconnected, so we can clear our headlight. And now that it's a little bit closer, we can plug in this beam here. And we can position this into place. That top part should snap in and align everything up. What we can do next is secure the top of our headlight with our factory bolts. Then we can tighten them down with a 10mm socket. Now we can line up the bottom. You can stick your hand inside the fender well to line it up, and we can secure down the 10mm bolt that we previously took out. Once that's hand threaded in, we can take our 10mm shallow socket and tighten that all the way down. So what we can do next is secure our bumper back down on the inside. We're going to take that 10mm bolt that we removed and thread that into our quarter fender. Once that's threaded in by hand, we can tighten it down with that 10mm socket. So then we can secure our inner fender liner back onto our bumper with that same 10mm screw that we took out before and that same 10mm socket. So now we can secure the inner fender liner at the bottom with the 2 bolts that we previously removed. Hand thread them in, and then we can tighten those back up with the 10mm socket. So now we can secure the bottom of our headlight here with that 10mm bolt that we previously removed. Tightening it up with the 10mm socket. Now we can reinstall our trim, popping that back into place and securing it down with the factory clip. After we're finished up with the passenger side, we can repeat the same thing on the driver's side. So now we can reinstall the 3 clips on our bumper. Once those are on, we can grab our grill, slide this down into place. Those clips on either side of the headlights are going to fit into our grill. Just be mindful of that. Then we can reinstall those 2 screws. Tightening those up with a 10mm socket. And then reinstall those 2 clips on the side into our headlights. After that, we can close up the hood and then we'll be all set to go. So that's gonna wrap it up for my review and install. Make sure you like and subscribe, and for more videos and products like this, always keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.